Hello everyone, my name is Erick. For today I'll be showing you how I put in the Nikon colors on my Sony A7. So just to give you a brief background, I'm an Instagram portrait photographer. I've been shooting portraits since 2011 using my D7000, my very first camera, and my 85 1.4G. I'll put in a link below just in case you want to check out my portfolio. So in terms of the shift from a Nikon system to a Sony, the reason why I actually shifted was that I've been waiting for Nikon to actually churn out a very good video camera. And over the years, I really got tired of waiting. It seems that Nikon really can't get their act together. And then when the Sony A7 III came out, I was actually floored enough with the reviews that I said that, okay, this is it. I'm going to leave my lens lineup and shift to Sony. Yeah, leave my lens lineup. And it comes at a price, as you know.
2 hours later.
So with the shift from a Nikon system to a Sony one, I've encountered two issues. One issue is I'm actually unable to use my existing Nikon lenses to that of my Sony body. Reason why is I think as of the recording of this video, I haven't found an adapter that can actually work seamlessly with a Sony body. So I have been putting that on hold, and then the other piece, and I guess the other issue, which I guess it's just with me, since it's just my preference. I have some problems with the Sony colors. I've been using my Nikon for such a long time, and actually Sony is just my first, second body, and I just can't let go of the Nikon colors. So the Sony colors are good enough for their own, and they can stand it up on their own. It's just that I really prefer the Nikon ones over the Sony. So I've been searching for the web for tutorials and actually getting that simulation of a Nikon color into a Sony system, but I can't seem to find one. All of the tutorials or the videos that I'm seeing is all about Canon colors into the Sony bodies. No Nikon users. Yeah, Canon tutorials. Canon. Really? No Nikon? No prior Nikon shooters wanting to use their Nikon colors on the Sony. Yeah, I guess that's only me.
Eventually.
So being the person that I am, and I'm very obsessive compulsive about the colors of my photos, I took it up on myself to actually find a workable solution. So this tutorial that I'll be showing you is just a DIY of sorts. It's not in any way an established solution for doing it. I just did it based on a few applications of some tutorials that I've seen over the net. So if you're familiar with Color Checker Passport by X-Rite, this tool is actually a palette which enables photographers and videographers to have a consistent color cast across all of their image, even if it's done on different bodies. Using that kind of application, what I did is I downloaded a image of a Color Checker Passport over the web, loaded that up on my monitor, and then took a shot of that using my Nikon D7000. My Nikon D7000, by the way, is in a picture control neutral, because I like to actually tweak colors after I shoot my pictures or my videos. So I loaded the image, took a shot of that, took a note of the settings that I had at that time: the ISO, the aperture, the shutter speed, and then the white balance. And then downloaded the image, and then loaded it up also on the monitor and put it side by side with the original picture of the Color Checker. And then from there, I actually took my Sony camera, copy the initial settings that I had on my Nikon body, and then also with the live view of the Sony camera, took a live view shot of the color checker passport image, and then from there I used the picture profile 5 of Sony. The reason why I chose it was the closest one that I could get to the Sony colors that I wanted, to the Nikon colors that I wanted rather, and then tweaked it one by one. So if you guys are interested with the findings that I had, these are the settings that I got out of that. If you are using a default picture profile 5 profile for Sony, so the black level will be a -5, saturation will be +15, color depth will be reds +3, greens +7, blues +7, cyans +1, magentas +7, yellows +7. And then on detail, I adjusted the level to +1, and on adjust, I did change the crispening to 1. So those are the settings that I changed in order for me to get a closer variance of a Nikon color into the Sony body. Also, it's worth noting that, as you know, the Sony cameras have a darker casts to their images, so you need to take an exposure compensation of +2 in order for you to get an exact, maybe a lighter shade or a Nikon color out of your Sony image. Just a note or a disclaimer though, the changes that I did is only based on how I perceive the colors. So my recommendation is you really should get a color checker passport of your own or a printed version of that, and then do your photos, because the monitor might also have a different cast to it, just for you to be sure that you have the correct colors on you. And then I also suggest that you make your own adjustments with your own Nikon cameras. Reason why is I shot the photo which I used as a comparison using my 85 1.4G. And as you know, if you're a Nikon user, a G lens color cast is different with a D lens color cast. So you might need to take that consideration. So if in case, let's say my settings don't work on you, it's just because that I use an E7000 and an 85 1.4G. And I also use a monitor. So there are so many variables that you need to consider. So it might not be correct. So to be on the safe side, what I really recommend is for you to do that on your own PC or your own MacBook or whatever, and on your own Nikon body and Sony body. As an addition, if you also use presets on your images or your videos, what you can also do is, instead of using the straight off the cam image of the color checker passport you shot with your Nikon, you can actually just load that up in Lightroom, apply a preset that you always use, and then use that image to actually do your comparison. Because I'm actually a heavy preset user, and that would actually speed up your workflow. At least you can get a straight off the cam image with a final color corrected image that you actually prefer, instead of loading it in Lightroom and then do your edits there. So there you have it. That's my tutorial on how to get Nikon colors on your Sony bodies. So if this video helped you in some way, or if you liked it, please feel free to like the video or subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. And if any of you out there knows a better way actually to do this, because I know this is not an exact science, but if there is a better way, a more refined way of doing it, please feel free to comment on the video below. I'd really like to start the discussion or actually get the necessary expertise, reach out to the necessary experts or expertise out there so that I can get a more clearer approach into getting those Nikon colors into my Sony a7 III body. So thank you for your time. This is Eric. See you on the next video. Have a great day.